Everything is under attack. It's because comedy is like a taxi industry. White people can't control, really. So, which is another reason why I love it, because I control my own narrative. Yeah. And sometimes people who comment about our comedy don't go to our shows. So for me as a comedian, I don't care what you say about me. If you haven't seen my show, I don't even have to justify you with a response. You don't even deserve a response.
Nkululeko on Cultr. Nkululeko on Cultr. Thank you very much for joining us. Today's guest is none other than award-winning comedian and actress Celeste Ntuli. She'll talk about her shows upcoming and what she's currently busy with right now. But before we get to that, we say thank you very much to Khalo Sebata, who's our videographer, and Ulebogang Mazambi, who's the producer, who's never here really, but is always making sure that we get these interviews on time. Celeste, thank you very much for your time, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good.
Sebenza, I saw you recently in England. And I saw you planning shows as well up at Ekaya. So you've been busy this year.
Yeah, definitely. From the beginning of the year, I started last year to have a show, tours. So now, from January, I had a show, and I'm continuing this weekend. I have it in because of the COVID, we had to find ways to work. And for me, it was not just work. When I left Ismaya, my mind was set up to do comedy before the COVID happened. So when the COVID hit, I didn't want to move from that plan. So I made sure that I'm doing shows, even as small as Bioscope. I've been doing shows since the COVID lockdowns. And now almost all of us are working in terms of comedy and performing. So I'm continuing with that.
I'm picking up from you that you are serious about your comedy. As besides the fact that you are performing, obviously, but as an art form as well.
Wait, that's such a funny question. Are you serious?
Yeah, but
are you seriously saying you're picking up that I'm serious about what I'm doing?
As an art form.
Are you serious?
As an art form.
No, you can't say that.
There are a lot of people that are addicted to the idea of being famous, but without caring about the art form.
Wait, you mean to tell me after all the things I've done, you're only picking up now that I'm serious about what I'm doing?
No, that's not what I'm implying. No. It's very encouraging to see an artist caring about their art form to a point where that you were on TV and it occurred to you that, you know what, at some point I really need to focus fully on comedy and forget about everything else.
So you're saying most people who are now on TV, for me to leave TV and concentrate on comedy is something that you say it's what most people don't do.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's
remarkable. I hear you now.
I find that very remarkable because they would hop from one presenting job to another, from acting. You will see them on multiple channels at the same time. It's all about getting the bag as opposed to caring about the art.
Yeah, but it's only happening in South Africa. That must be known. We decide in this country not to celebrate people that do the work. Thandi Somasai right now is at the Polo in New York. You'd think it would trend at least for 5 minutes. I don't think as South Africans as a society we understand what we bring. I traveled, as you said. Not that I want to. When I travel, I must have paparazzi or something like that. But I believe you me, if someone out there can hear Celeste Ntuli, I will be in publications that will never publish me that I was in London. So we have a serious problem. That's why you don't see so many people who do the hard work doing the hard work because they're not shown. So there are people who are artists, I know so many, and it's just that it's unfortunate. The media and television have decided to take people with numbers. So now there's mostly people that people know with numbers and getting the bag and, being sheepish out there doing whatever other people are doing. Not that people must not get their bags, but also it's still an art, it's still craft. Even on my shows, I still introduce elements that are of culture. And I think that when we do not, that's the part of taking the ownership of the culture, of the craft that you're doing. For example, when I had my show this year, I decided to bring Lebo Mashile to the show because my shows are different. My shows, and have you been to my shows?
No.
So now I'm going to start, anyone who's never been on my show doesn't interview me. Because I'm tired of explaining what I do, you know. I put a lot of work to what I do. You don't just come in and I grab the mic and there's a stand-up. There's other artists there. There's a music element. I know some people have DJs, but I prefer to have a band from time to time. Last year I had a pianist in Cape Town because they love jazz. So as black people, we are creative. We are artists. And we should take the ownership of our craft in how we curate, in who we collaborate with. And that takes time. And I know this. That's why even with comedy, most people who have numbers still can't fill the theaters. They do have numbers. They are social media entertainers. Digital, they have the numbers. They make the money, but they still can't fill up the seats. Because the seats are being filled by what you're saying. You build the comedy voice over time. T.I. is the most known artist, but he's starting to do comedy. He didn't start in a bigger platforms and bigger. Comedy doesn't operate like that.
Yeah,
he had to go to the theater, to the clubs.
A point of contention with, I know Godfrey, the comedian, spoke about that. Uguti, they've been doing the legwork for years and years and years, and there comes a rapper doing comedy for a week and him blowing up more than people.
Yeah, of course that will happen. But believe you me, even T.I., Tiffany Haddish died. Number of in front of huge audience. It doesn't necessarily end at that point. Even till now, she's at the height of her thing. But when that happened, it happens to even comedians. So it doesn't guarantee you really. I'm not saying T.I. won't get the audience, but the audience, you sustain it by making people laugh. Because at the end of the day, there are so many people who make people laugh. There are people who are better comedians that the community don't know, because most people do not attend our shows. And what I like about comedy is that it is that type of a genre that the consumers are more like connoisseurs of their craft. I know there's so many people who've never seen my shows, but I know my people that come and see my shows. Do you understand? And that's why I've been doing it since 2005. It's not like I ran out of the audience. I did it before I was on TV. I was filling up and selling out shows. So it's not the number of people that know you on social media, and because it doesn't translate. When I was on Inspire, it wasn't translating that now because I'm on Inspire, I'm hitting bigger numbers on comedy. No, because people knew Spogas, not me. But when people came to my show, they're like, can't I? Yeah, right there. Which is another reason why I don't do TV for now. I want people to know me, not the characters that I'm playing.
For you, is there a message that you're trying to... Do you use comedy to put across a point? For example, you would make jokes about sexuality and sex and women's experience in sex. Is that you making jokes, or are you really trying to make an underlying point sometimes?
Comedy is... Comedy and tragedy, they are friends, if not roommates. But it's not about the tragedy itself, but it's when I talk about something that happens to me. I say this, I'm unique but common, because when I say something, it resonates to so many people. It's not something that I experience. It resonates to so many women, because so many women are like me. So many women are dark skinned like me. So many women. It's just that they are not represented in the mainstream media. We don't have a good PR, but we exist. So when I talk, I know that it's not for me. When I talk about my experiences after the show, tons of people are experiencing the same thing. They go through the same thing. So as much as I might be unique in the space, I might be unique on stage, but I'm not unique as an experience. There are so many people who are like me.
Yeah. I think comedians now, in the age of social media and cancellation, have a very difficult job to entertain people. You want to educate and put your points across in a nuanced way. You use jokes to make a point, but sometimes it blows out of proportion. Dave Chappelle was experiencing that some of his jokes are leading to calls for him to be cancelled. Do you think your genre is under attack?
Everything is under attack. It's because comedy is like a taxi industry. White people can't control, really. So which is another reason why I love it, because I control my own narrative. Yeah. And sometimes people who comment about our comedy don't go to our shows. So for me as a comedian, I don't care what you say about me. If you haven't seen my show, I don't even have to justify you with the response. You don't even deserve a response.
But that
because you've missed out the whole craft. That's why even Dave Chappelle, when I was on Dave Chappelle's show in this country, I loved it so much. I can't wait to have money so I can do that again on my show, where you take off the cell phones. Everyone, we didn't have cell phones.
Yes.
But what that did, I didn't miss a line. I didn't miss anything, because we forget that comedy is storytelling. Do you want to listen to the story or not? And we're living in this whole we are sensitive issue. It's so funny because everything else is sensitive but racism. So what sensitivity are we talking about? Everything else. This war we are experiencing, we still within that war experience, and so racism.
Yeah.
Isn't that sensitive? What is this sensitivity that is only skewed on sexuality and sex and gender and this? I'm not saying those issues are not there, but I'm saying those are the only things that people raise.
Do you?
In my shows, I talk about sex and racism.
Yeah.
You know, when I did a show, I did a comedy, in London, and in front there was a white lady next to the. Of course, I had white people in the audience and
That's
black
the
people.
majority.
So
people, right?
I had a mixture of people. I had everyone from diaspora, which was great. But when I did a joke about how racism persists and still alive, and how white people have not even faced themselves, because the society and the world has not given, like everyone feels sensitive. Like even right now, it's like, now she's going in. No! When I talk about sex, it's relaxation. But when I talk about racism, everyone else, now it's like I'm going to where it shouldn't. Why? Then we are not sensitive. We are choosing things that we want to be sensitive
That's
about.
interesting. Because it's interesting because for the most part, when I see black comedians, they seem to fall into the space of making jokes about sex. It's as if, okay, you settle for that because you know if you speak about things that people are more sensitive about, you may not be accepted.
Yeah, but again, if you will know that doesn't apply to me if you know my shows. It's unfortunate for you. I do address a lot of things beyond sex. It's just that everyone else, I think also subconsciously, as black people, it's something that we maybe are not ready to face, that we are not getting exactly what we want. So sexual freedom becomes at least the nearest thing. Because anything sexual, sex, we are there.
Yeah.
But things that has to do with us solving our issues that are major, it's too much. For me, I feel like we haven't even started having a serious conversation. Because our conversations that we are having is a selected liberty that the system is allowing us to say, now this is the fight. Mm-hmm. The fight is in gender and this and the other. But the whole thing is that, for me, personally, as Celeste, I believe that the major problem in this world is racism. The major problem for everyone, for all Africans in diaspora around the world, we are still facing racism. And that trickles down to so many things: unemployment, family structures, education, because now the basic things, which needs to be the hierarchy of needs for every other human being, is expensive. Just like Chris Rock said, expensive means it's literally a new sign for no blacks allowed. Because everything else we don't get. I can't wait for us. I don't know when are we going to get to a point where we're like, okay, we are sexually free. And then we can start attacking other things, because seemingly that's where we are stuck.
You make a very good point there, because whereas it was acceptable to say no blacks allowed, now what you do is you either increase the price
prices
of school fees.
Yeah.
So that
if you increase education on an unemployed community, what do you mean? Education is a need.
You are excluding them.
What do you mean? So, what do you mean? Same years, there's some kids who are not going to have a similar access to a better education, and it's sad to witness. So, a part about us talking about things that are sensitive, I'm like, sensitivity is relative to what the media says it's sensitive.
And they've decided for us which side to
Which
choose.
side is sensitive?
Even
I saw so many things on my shows, but
Yeah.
they will pick up only sexual stuff. When I talk about race, that one was too hard. You went too hard. And even the words we use.
Yeah, I mean, because if you make a quick YouTube search of your videos, the most stuff that you will see there would be the sexual stuff. And people would not pick
I'm
up.
not even on YouTube. That's a thing. I think that's a whole... We are yet to understand how even algorithms are racist.
That's dope.
we are yet to feel the understanding that even these gadgets, we're still not free. Because that's why we always say as comedians, come to our shows. Because when people are there, those people that are there, they're not on Google, they're not on internet, they're experiencing me. They understand the premise of the joke, the punchline of the joke, the exaggeration of the joke. Now you're killing the whole craft. I need to be exaggerating. I need to say certain things in a certain way for the shock effect. Now you're taking the whole thing. That's why we write. That's why it's comedy. Because the intention is not being horrible. The intention is to highlight. But if we're not going to have any conversations, the conversations has to be only sensitive for certain specific genre of people. Because, as I say, if this sensitivity was across the board, I will buy it. When it comes to racism, we don't do the same. We're not as active.
You make a very good point, and I've with some of the celebrities that I've invited here, I've explored some of those topics, and one of them I explored with Umushendeki, and I said that my point to him was that the minute that you try to stifle speech, the minute that you try to control speech, you're opening up a can of worms. What is acceptable and what
is
isn't,
not acceptable?
you know?
Yeah, because I mean, we're sitting here now. It's seemingly, as much as we are suffering as black people, our conversation has moved from our suffering.
Yeah, it's as if we've
somehow it's like but
Sure.
the major problem. That's why I even had the conversation with someone who said, which one is worse, the gender issue and the race issue? And I'm like, but I'm both. What do you mean? So now I must choose my pain. Wait, which one is better? Which one is not? Nothing is better.
And it affects you both the same time.
It affects me the same way. I'm a woman and I'm black. And also this whole thing of just only women. The way everything is so messed up. Everyone, including us black people, including us women, white people, Indian, everyone has had to have the conversation. We are yet to have the conversations that we are not ready to have. It's not like black women as well, they are just innocent. No, we also have our issues that we are not ready to tackle. The minute you say it's like, oh no, don't go there. Because subconsciously we know that we are wrong though when it comes to this part. There's no way that all of us, all of a sudden, I mean, I'm a woman, and I'm sure with all other women, you've had fights with your friends who are women. You know, I'm sure even in lesbian relationships, some women are cheaters and whatnot. It's a human nature thing. But the way we've taken the hierarchy of just we are the only one rights, it's a problem right there. Because then we are not going to have engaging in a conversation with the man that is going to say, I acknowledge my own contribution, enabling. I'm not saying, obviously, mostly in most spaces, black men, you have a lot to fix, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we are 100% pure with how we've been responding.
And it seems as though in the last, I think, 15 years, in media, we seem to have been driving people towards the idea of the black man and the black woman are always at loggerheads with one another. There's always a problem between them.
But white women are still housewives and making babies. No one is saying they're primitive. It's love.
There you go. Can we talk about your observation of South Africa and how it consumes comedy? For example, there are multiple languages in the country. You might find yourself in Limpopo performing a show, and perhaps the grasp of English and isiZulu may not be, at a level that you would want it. How do you deal with that challenge? Because we are a diverse country, and some comedian is exclusively Xhosa, like CSA, for example. Yeah. How would you perform in Limpopo?
I've started comedy in 2005. I'm over that part. I've done comedy in Zulu for years. That's the reason why I moved to Joburg, which is the reason why I'm also traveling, because I think I'm coming down with flu.
Yeah, bulala COVID.
Yes, bruh. But I think and it's worse because this weekend is my show. No.
I was on a grand. You
No. So, you see, that's another reason why I came. I was like, oh my god, I should be streaming. I should be doing certain things. Anyway, excuse me. I've learned to do both. It's no longer a problem for me. I know now that this audience, this is what they need. And South Africa, I mean, even here in Joburg, I can't speak proper Zulu. That is, I speak back home because I will lose some of the people. When I go to Durban, this is when I do proper Zulu comedy show. Because I can even feel the language. There are words I can't throw in here. There are words I can throw in Durban, and people are going to get them instantly. They're going to make sense. So, when it comes to language, South Africa, you just need to choose, really, because there's no formula for every one of us are successful in different ways. So if it works for you to only do Livenek, it works for you. That's good. But if it doesn't work for you or you want to expand, I mean, there's nothing you're going to do. You're not going to force people to listen to Zulu because they can't understand it, you know. So I can go to Limpopo, but the rest of the show I'll speak in English.
Oh yeah, I was going there. Would you, at the moments where you would say, you know what, I may obviously you are where you are in your career now, but at some point you would have needed the cash and take as many gigs as possible. Because you need the money, but unfortunately you can't go there because you understand that they may not understand my comedy.
I once was in Marula-san. Yeah, I think it's Casino.
Marula-san, yes.
Yeah. I performed in English. They didn't want my English, and luckily I was hosting and Tole Small was in the lineup.
Yeah.
So I came in and I hosted. I was like, am I dying? No, like, why? I'm trying English, Zulu, it doesn't work. I said to guys, no, this show is going to be horrible. Someone must just continue. I'm not what. And I was like, can I come in at the end though? Because I want to understand the audience. Because I don't know whether it's me or them or it's the language thing. So they performed, and towards the end, someone took over. I think Tole Small took over and hosted. And then we all performed. And then I performed after I've been seemingly bombing with this, lost in translation language situation. But when I got to the stage and I was like, because when I'm drunk, I can speak a bit of Tswana suit. I don't even know what I'm saying. But you can't get me. Believe you me, I'll be in a fight contributing.
Yeah.
Don't ask me in the morning. So I think I'm much more confident, when you're intoxicated. Like, okay, I can speak the language. So I was trying. I was like, saying certain words, asking them this thing in Tswana, and they say it to me, and the show was weird, but they laughed. And I realized, okay, the whole thing is just to be seen. And they gave me a leeway to okay, now that you can speak couple of words in Tswana, then you can mix it up with English, not with your Zulu. I do understand. Yeah. But again, I have a different direction with my craft now, and that's the main point. I took the Netflix thing because I want to be on a global space, so there's no way now to be discussing whether should I speak Zulu. I mean, I'm in England. Oh, well, what are you going to do? You're not going to. And also, I didn't have South Africans only on the audience. I had Ghanaians, Zimbabweans, everyone, because when you're outside the country, everyone in African diaspora, they become part. Any other African artist that comes, you're not going to expect that you're going to receive your nationality only. I performed for my show. There was mixed African nationals, which was great. And I performed for Basketman's show at the O2 Arena, which was seemingly Nigerian audience, but then it was filled with South Africans as well. So that's the language thing. Do you want to be off local or do you want to do global? It's a individual option or choices.
Yeah, it's one of the tragic things. Of course, if you're allowed to be, but to be a South African who is very good in isiZulu or Tswana or Pedi, but you have to switch to English, which is a limitation, and you're not that proficient.
But all we need to do is to train our people to pay for our things. Because the reason why most artists would like to transcend is because, unfortunately, as Black people, we haven't mentally be in a position to understand what it means to support one another. So then we'll all have to switch because you guys don't come to my show. White people do come. So there's no way. Sometimes the unfortunate thing is not really in the language limitation. As a society, we still have a long way to go with self-love as a collective to understand what it means. Do you know?
Even the idea of accepting that you have
This
to pay.
is cool.
Yeah.
This, what I see here, is nice. If maybe I saw some other people, maybe I was going to throw my tantrums. Purely because there were black people here. Don't throw tantrums. Let's just relax. Even if it's a communication. There's a way of dealing with something when you are like, really, we need to do what other races are doing. What I'm saying is not saying just be, no, but love one another. Just like white people love, they will choose themselves first. Let's choose ourselves first. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like choosing you. You know? And so our artists are great. Siya is a comedian that speaks Xhosa, but there's nothing preventing our audiences to support him anywhere. And even if it means then when he goes to KZN, you know, it's gonna be, but there's no limitations if you're gonna understand the openness. I do go and perform in Cape Town. No one is expecting me to perform in Xhosa. You know, I think it's also the teaching. But one thing I will say with comedy: when you are funny, you are funny. When you are funny, you are funny. No one has I've ever heard anyone complaining about, you know, Siya must speak Tsonga or no. We never had such. If you are funny, you are funny.
I consume a lot of stand-up comedy on Netflix and on YouTube. I don't know if I've ever subjected myself to a comedian whose language I don't understand. You know, like...
Of course. That one, that's what I'm saying. On Netflix, it's something... My show on Netflix, obviously, it was not in Zulu. We haven't seen it. I'm gonna roast you the whole interview.
No,
but I'm on Netflix too.
It's dope though. Like, it's dope. It's dope that like for the first time I consume so many comedians, and for the first time I'm speaking to a comedian, and you have to accept that you're gonna be roasted. You're gonna be the butt of the joke.
Yeah, but because that is an example of what we're talking about. Yeah. My set is on Netflix. It's in English.
South Africa is very interesting. You know, I don't know if other people have been able to transcend the limitation of language. But anyways, we'll keep it moving. In terms of, there's been a conversation about wage disparity between men and women, and it expressed itself with what Chris Rock was earning and what Dave Chappelle was earning versus what Monique was proposed to have been earning at the time when Netflix gave her an offer. Apparently, it was $500,000, and the men were on 20 million. Do you notice anything in the South African context about wage disparity?
Nothing is surprising. If I was a man with the stuff that I've done, but the stuff that I've done, I still hasn't, like last time I had the first time a brand saying yes, we can work with you. Not that it's a lack of trying, not that it's a lack. Sometimes I know what I bring. I know what I do. I'm on stage. I'm not blind. You wouldn't want me here if I was not knowing what I'm doing. But I know for a fact that it's still going to be on some, maybe. But if I was a man, there was never going to be a maybe. I believe if I was a man, you would have seen my shows. This is not me being a part of your joke, making you a joke. I'm trying to highlight.
You make the point. Yeah.
That the stuff that I've done, there's no way someone would want me to be in their space, but then you haven't gotten time to. It's in your psychology. It's in your psyche to think a woman cannot maybe give you what you think you might get when you're looking. You know what I mean? It's not even you per se, but everyone else. I have to say, that's why I even don't like saying it much. People that know me and come to my shows, they know what I bring. You know? All comedians know what I bring. Even the best male comedians, you can ask them. They know what I bring. Most comedians don't want to come after me on my shows. They know what I bring. But because I'm a woman, everyone is going to believe and says, no, maybe I'm, no.
So to put it in plain language.
I'm the best comedian right now. That's the plain language.
Yeah. And in addition to that, if you were a male, you believe
everyone
you would
will
have
know.
received more
endorsements, everyone will know.
Made more money.
Everyone will know. Everyone will know.
And in other words, there are male
and now
comedians.
I'm not even talking about them no one is just going to come to you and give you money, of course. But even when people come with their proposal, you can tell that this proposal is because I'm a woman. Because you come to me because you know what I bring, but you're gonna have to pretend as if what I bring is not good enough when it comes to payment. You wouldn't have called me. Just like everything else.
Do you think it's South African women or black women in South Africa?
Women in general, black, we are the bottom of the bottom. When you talk to a black woman, understand that we've experienced almost all sorts of rubbish things that a human being can experience that is discriminatory in different levels. I'm not saying I experience all of it at one, but I'm just saying by virtue of being,
What is your comedy, because of coming where we come from, South Africa? I don't think that pre-94 there was any exposure on TV of black women who are comedians, and even maybe up to 2000. I don't think I would have consumed black women who are comedians on television, even though I would have seen American men.
So you haven't watched anything by Tumi Morag?
Tumi, no, I know Tumi Morag.
Okay.
I've seen. I'm just saying pre-94.
Okay.
That would not. Tumi Morag is recent, maybe 10.
Oh, okay. You mean
10 years.
before
I'm saying in your
your
upbringing, would you have grown up being influenced more by male comedians because of a lack of female comedians?
The first time I ever realized I couldn't understand it. I couldn't put it in words, but I saw myself in her. Bengisemakhaya, long drop toilet, and we used to have these magazines, and I remember I opened and I saw Whoopi Goldberg. I saw myself in her. I was like, I don't even know what she does. I didn't even know what she does. Like literally, that was the first time seeing her face. Something in the now they call it vibes. Something that said to me, she looked cool. She looked like something I would like to be.
Would you say that's the first
I didn't even know what she was doing. I just liked her essence, seeing her on a magazine, which is why representation is important. And I think psychologically is because probably I had seen so many magazines without seeing any dark-skinned female superstar anything in that sense. Do you know what I mean? So when I saw her with dreadlocks, and for me it was such an amazing image. I've always been captured by those images of Nina Simone's with the short hair and singing for the orchestra. Those things have always stuck with me because I know you don't get them regularly. It's a representation because I saw myself in them. I didn't see myself in these pretty other light-skinned people. That's not me. Not that those people who are light-skinned are lucky enough to see themselves represented in that way. For us, we have to search through. So definitely the inspiration was never a male in that sense. But the first time I understood comedy and to know that this is a comedy I want to do, definitely I watched Richard Pryor. To understand. That's how I knew this is how you do this. I watched a lot of Richard Pryor and Dick Gregory, and I watched icons. I didn't even know they were icons then. For me, it was I had DVDs that my friend's boyfriend had borrowed us with Kings of Comedy.
Yeah.
And then I watched Queens of Comedy after, But to understand what is this thing, how should you, deliver, they looked nice. I was like, oh, I love it. Because I knew I've always been funny in social spaces, but I've never taken up as comedy as a career then. But when I saw it, I was like, I know I can do this. It made sense to me.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful because as you talk about Kings of Comedy, Richard Pryor and Dick Gregory, it's pretty much similar journey for me. Like the first comedians I ever saw with those people. It's amazing that we learned from them, and then you have to take it into the South African context. Can we talk about offense and being offensive and being seen to be offensive, other than this cancel culture bullshit? Just in terms of it delivery, because my observation is that in some of the things that I've done on YouTube and on TV as well, a little bit, is that South Africans take offense. The viewers take offense to the tiniest things, the F word, saying shit on camera.
They choose to.
Yeah.
I still stand by my heel. You haven't touched racism though, so leave me alone. I don't want to even respond to that bullshit, to be honest. Some of the things, I understand the sensitivity, but sometimes I think they're pushing it. And it's only to push the agenda. Can we be sensitive to racism just like the way we are sensitive to other stuff? Then we can talk.
I'm just saying now, in terms of the regular black South African.
Regular black South African. I mean, we are fed these things. People are sensitive because you said fuck, but then I don't know, Kim Kardashian, whoever else. Like, come on. Me, I'm over with the whole thing. That's why I love stand up. Don't have to go through all that bullshit. People who are there understand why they're there, and you are making them fun, laugh. They laugh. It's never people who are on the shows that say. It's people who don't see the shows. It's social media. Well, I don't know what you do with your staff.
It's YouTube. It's on social media. So you have.
You're dealing with people about it. Like I said before.
You have 100,000 people complaining about
everyone can talk.
One F word.
Imagine if social media was a huge conference. That's a disaster. You can't even tell someone, stop, this one is talking. It's a mess. So sometimes I think, also definitely, I'm not saying artists don't have the responsibility of being cautious. Definitely you have to. And I say this because I know that doing comedy and saying jokes on stage, the intent has to be the first thing. So intentionally, that someone doesn't intend to be foul or
and malicious
or negative.
That was my conversation with Moshe, and I said, look, if you're not going to be patient enough to understand the intent and the nuance and the point that they're bringing across, you can't tell me that you can't make jokes about gay because you're not gay. You can't make jokes about straight people because you're not straight. For me, I was like, I'm going to die on this hill because I understand the intent of that joke. I understand what they were trying to say.
Yeah, it's as if people are being told to say this. If you say the other or you question, then you're against. No. Sometimes you are even highlighting something that needs to be discussed with such, and I haven't seen any grave side with someone who died because of offense.
Yeah. And that's a good point. I mean, F word has never killed anyone, ever.
But racism has killed millions of people.
That's
my heel.
Yeah. Who are your comedy influences, besides you talking about Whoopi? Oh, I'm asking the wrong question, or in the wrong way. Who are comedians that you really admire now? Maybe 5 of them, South Africa and abroad, that you really admire, whose work...
Lois Okola. I think Lois Okola is underrated in the work that he puts in.
First person in Venek that I've ever seen do comedy, when I was 13 on the Fat Joe Show, 2003 on SABC1. First person who I've ever heard speak my language on television, 2003.
Oh no, hey, we are young. No wonder you don't even watch our thing. That's again God. So yeah, I think
Lois Okola.
I like how he moves. I like the stuff he does. He's about the work, and I know people will only know when they say, "Hey, Lois has got the big something, whatever show in BBC." Then but the work that he's always put in, I really admire him. Like from LNN days when he was still, doing LNN, and we worked with him. Definitely, for me, for work ethic and how he moves, I've learned a lot from him. And also as a human being, he's such a dope person. He's been so kind to me in so many ways, not even, even realizing it. I mean, after he finished having his own Netflix special, that very same month, I had a show at Bioscope, and Kagiso was hosting for me, and Kagiso couldn't come. He gladly hosted for me at Bioscope. And a Bioscope is this small.
A smaller venue.
You must understand this person just had a special on Netflix weeks ago. And he doesn't mind being in this tiny room and hosting for me. For me, I don't think he even understands how grateful I am for that moment. So it's him. And of course, I know Trevor is there because, he's done. So I don't know what he's doing now for stand-up, but of course I understand the success that he has is always inspiring to watch and understand. But funny, Dave Chappelle, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Hey.
Steve Harvey, because also I had a conversation with him and I got to understand him, and of course I love Naya Gating stand up sack. Earthquake. I was very excited
Yes.
to see Earthquake.
I saw his recent one.
Yeah.
That's produced by
So
Dave Chappelle.
yeah, it's Earthquake. Yeah, man. Those are my peeps. I know the ones that I work with, pops. But I'm just telling you the people that I just, maybe I don't get to talk to them on a daily, obviously. But they inspire me to do
Earthquake said in his last special, "Fuck these kids."
And I must say this one thing.
Sure.
Of course, Monique. Yes.
Do you think they're deliberately cancelling her now? After what she said? I mean, there's never been a special for the past 3 or 4 years. Like, that's major. After the
But
thing that
I
she
don't
said.
think I'm not going to talk about Monique. They have millions. I mean, hello. I mean, why are you even putting me in this conversation?
Okay.
Anyway, all I know is that, cancelled or not, she's never stopped killing. So I don't even think even that cancelling happened or worked. That's a nice thing about comedy as well. You can cancel me on your TV, on these cameras, but you can't cancel me on theaters. You can't cancel people to come to me.
You spoke very glowingly about Loyiso Kola.
Yeah.
The industry is fucked up. The entertainment industry, whether we're talking about actors and musicians and so on, is fucked up in a sense that it's extremely competitive. Everyone wants what the person with the hit has and the attention that they're getting. How is the comedy community in terms of how you guys treat each other? Because you're always in a lineup, there's always has to be like 5 of you at the same time.
But that's a thing. I just do you. You know, these days I think this whole thing of there's a competition, there's a eat. In a room full of artists, maybe 20 or 30, do you understand that there are few that has a eat? You don't buy that thing. You don't dress it up. You don't put on makeup on the eat. It's a eat. It's there. Someone has it. Like, you can't deny them, whether you like it or not. But we've gone used to saying, I know, might not be as funny or not sing very well or not dance very well, but she's pretty or he's this or he's got money or he's kind. Like, no. And we pushing this narrative, talent alone is not enough, but talent is the main thing that we need. It's the main ingredient. It's the flour. So the whole thing of competition removes itself when you understand what you're working with. You can't compete with me because I'm not competing with anyone. And believe you me, I don't even take ownership of what I have because it's a gift. So I'm moved by this thing that I know that I must. You know what I mean? It's a different kind of dedication. That's why you even asked me that question. You're on TV, but now because I'm no longer at the finding my passion. I'm at finding a career. No, this is no longer a passion for me. It's a purpose. It's beyond whether there's TV, whether there's I will do this. Do you understand? That's why I don't wait for anyone. I pay for everything on my shows. I don't, as much as I haven't gotten endorsement over the years, it never stopped me because I didn't start this for endorsements. I started for writing and working on it. That's a thing about saying these words and throwing them. Trust the process. But how about being the process? The process has no audience. The process has no red carpet. The process has no glorification. The process has no bag in it. The bag will come after you have given yourself enough to this. I was listening this morning to one of these things as usual, like on social media, 50 Cent saying, sometimes you get pissed off. You're like, but I'm big. They don't see me. They don't, and you get frustrated. And I've been there. And he says, no, but the thing is that friction of you understanding what you have and knowing that the audience or the media is not giving you the money or the credentials or the exposure or whatever, the attention you need, you get to understand how you need to be when things are going right. Because when things are going right, you need that thick skin that trained you. So I think we mix the things. Probably we must start now doing who has a bag, who has a talent. We'll find the real truth. The thing is, we like, no, but might not have talent, but there's a bag. Okay, must sit there with the bags. Right now, we are talking about people who have talent, whoever eat. If we can go to that conversation, I was watching this thing with Jill Scott, this First Wives. It's a series, and she's a musician there, well-known musician, and now she has her own label, and then she, auditions musicians, and she says to this lady, let's not put you on the mic, don't go on a booth, show me what you and God, what God gave you. That line, for me, I was like, imagine if they could say, stop, give us what God gave you. Not the bag, not how you look, not your numbers. Yeah. What God gave you.
I think that's unfortunately we are going towards we're going towards a treacherous path in all forms of art, where it's a very treacherous path where for as long as you have 2 million people following you, we'll give you the bag.
But also the artist, like that's what I've decided for myself. The bag will come. I've done enough work since 2005 for me to hold. The fact that I went to London and I performed for the audience that was not cooked. No one gave me them. I didn't use anyone's database. It was me and my posts. Then I got that number. It's fine. Take your social media number. Vele algorithms are racist. Why do I care?
I work with algorithms, and it's the first time I've ever thought. I work on YouTube, so I'm familiar with algorithms.
Why do I care? Check all the stuff they're cancelling and blocking. Yeah. It's never pornography or nudity. Yeah. It's everything about racism.
Do you have a best friend in comedy? Someone you speak to about your ideas? Someone who encourages you when you are down and is also in the industry?
I will say almost all comedians. We talk. Really, we talk. Pop-ups. But I tend to work by myself. I know. But I do talk to people and have a conversation. I was performing with Tenju in London, he'll tell me, oh no, this joke, do this here. Nice, we do it for all other comedians. I don't have the one particular one where I go to, with my go-to person, no.
You're performing this Saturday. I'm committing to you that I will be there. I'm telling you. I will be there this Saturday. It's $300 to go. She's performing. Look out for me this Saturday. I'll be there. I'm in football, so every weekend I'm always doing matches. Bafana Bafana is playing Friday.
Okay.
Bafana Bafana, instead of Saturday, they're playing Friday. So.
Okay. No. Listen, you had to be roasted, but don't put yourself under pressure. No. But my show is on Saturday at the Lyric Theatre, and tickets are at CompuTicket. People must get them at 300 Rand at CompuTicket. The show starts at 7.
How does your lineup look like?
It's my show. It's my one-man show. The lineup is always great. I have opening acts, but I'm the one who performs the most. I do like an hour and a half. So you on tour, or this is the last show that you're going to be doing and then go and write again? I'm on tour, but I'm still writing, but I will take a bit of a pause because of the other work I'm going to do. There's some TV show I'm going to do, and I'm still writing, and I'm going to travel, and then I'll come back. I
think I saw something of you on Honey.
Yeah, I'm doing a show in Honey. People must write in.
You are asking people to propose. You're asking women to propose to men.
Well, it's not me asking. I'm on a season. It's a season. I think it's season 2 of the show. Okay. I'm joining the new season of the show. So women who feel like they've been in relationships for long, or for whatever reason, they need the ring now. Put the ring on it. So they're going to be asking their people how to, go down on their knees to ask for marriage and ask for the hand, to go down the aisle. I don't know.
What if the guy says no?
I don't know. I don't know what happens. It's a ouch. It's an ouch. I think.
Who are these people?
Yeah, man. It's a very unfortunate that we've come here as a society where women. Yeah.
But anyways, don't say anything against your bread.
No.
As you're about to
No.
say.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing that there are. Listen to me. There are women who do not care.
Okay.
That also let that be known. There are women who do not look at this love thing I'm one of those women. Not that I'm gonna go down on one knee with someone, but when I date, I know for a fact I don't date. I'm not a typical. I date differently. I love differently because I don't look for what most women look for in men. Like, no, that's not. I have another thing as well. Like we don't. There are women who don't want kids. There are women who don't want to get married. There are women who want to get married. There are women who don't want proposing. And I think I like that about the show, that it's going to show us. You can't be telling us we are progressive and then on the other side, we are not progressive. Are we progressive or not? So this is a part of progress.
So, you would never do what they do?
No.
In terms of the kind of partner that you are in a relationship?
And I will say this for so many reasons. I'm 42. I've lived practically my life by myself. I'm not the one. I don't date people because I need them. It's because I want them. There's a difference. I never need a man. I want. I never need though. So you're there, you're not there. It's not there. Crisis.
I get it.
You know what I mean?
I get it.
I want people who are going to be there because I love. It's beyond, obviously, because I love sex and I need a man, and also I love men. So, but beyond that, you need to be a human being. Beyond sex, you need to be a human being. So I look for something else. I love conversations. I want to dig deep. I want to understand because I love sharing everything. I don't want to be, hey, I'm not sure. Where are we standing? I don't do those things.
So you hit and run sometimes?
It's life. I said I'm single. I'm not dying. One thing for sure, it's always consensual.
There you go. Last one then on South Africa. You live here. You are a South African.
Yeah.
You see the things that are happening in the country. Developments, Operation Dudula.
Can they Dudula white people first?
I'm going.
I'm not even going to talk. I don't care.
Sure.
To be quite honest, I feel like I wish for it to be successful because I want to see those brothers and sisters of ours that want to take up those jobs of restaurants and tuck shop. Is that what we have? So since 1994, our fight has been tuck shops and restaurants jobs. Is that what, as South Africans, I'm not saying we must not look out for those jobs. The problem is we're going to only talk to the waitresses. Why are we not talking to the Italian who owns the restaurant? My thing is they Dudula halfway. That's Dudula everything. If you're not Dudula, the first people to Dudula is white people. No. Those people don't own restaurants. I'm not saying they mustn't. I know people go, yeah, South Africa first. Yes, South Africa first. I get it. But my point is, we are going to have another fight because now I saw some people saying Tsonga people were chased out in Alexandra. Now it's going to be a mess. And everyone else who's going to die is only going to be black people. It's never going to be any other color. And my problem is that we are doing everything but Chinatowns. We still have China malls. What do we say about that? Wasn't that supposed to be Kumete Mall? It's a for me, I have a right to say it. There is a reasoning there, but I feel like that thing is being used to deviate from the main thing. How many people are going to take up those waitresses' jobs when those restaurants are empty? The Italian is still going to run the restaurant. The French is going to run. That Argentinian, that Chinese is still going to run the restaurant. See, fine, we're going to have, and I want all black people in South Africa to, who wants unemployment? It's not like I'm sitting here and I'm insane. I'm saying South Africans don't develop work and jobs. But aren't we looking for jobs, Zaboma 1960? The ownership, when are we getting to the ownership part? Yet we are the owners of the land. Well, that's what we tell ourselves, but the Constitution says it's for all who live in it. So who?
And where I wanted to go.
Our Constitution says South Africa belongs to all who live in it. Yeah. It all sounds good and well when it's said by white people in Parliament, promising us a rainbow nation. But who then has a right Because then seemingly every other race has a right. I don't like the fact that there's unemployment in this country. I don't like that black people I'm an advocate for blackness through and through. But this whole thing I hate, still, it's our people sweating and fighting and banning each other. But it's our face out there. When are we addressing this other one? How is it so easy for us to address one part but not the other? And my thing is, it's still going to be the same people that are getting hurt. Now, people that we're fighting, then other people, it's the same. The fight is going to look the same. For me, when black people are fighting, it just takes me back to Inkatha and ANC. Because when I was growing up, I was like, actually, who was not there to say, wait a minute, aren't you all black and want the same thing? I see a lot of tribalism coming up as usual. And that's a lurking thing in South Africa. We try by all means. And the reason why our tribalist ugly nature is not coming out is because we are also duped with the idea that we are together with everyone. There's no color. Now we want that, we drum that, only when it comes to other races, only when it comes to white people, now we are rainbow. But when it comes to black people, you can't take time to understand what's going on, We can't take time. It's in the townships, there's our spaces there. There should be salons and things that are happening for our people. We go there, people are Makai. So who is going to take with what? My wish is that Operation Dudula everything fine and everything becomes empty. I want to know who's going to move in on those salons and operate and with what. That's my thing. I'm not saying they mustn't Dudula.
Yeah.
Don't Dudula the one that looks like you more than you Dudula the others. Is my problem.
I think that's an excellent point. And that's how we're going to close the episode.
And I'm a comedian, but I come to this show, they ask me serious questions.
Yeah. No, but I think you guys' work is important. I think people think of comedians as people that make us laugh, but you guys are very important. You are important. It's important that you say these things to us and that we listen to them.
Yeah, I'm not saying I know South Africa must agree or not agree. All I'm saying is there's a gray area with this issue. I wish peacefully. I wish all these Africans from different countries, Zimbabweans, they go. Because I want to see. What is it that we're going to do, a CBD that we failed to do in townships, where we own? Sometimes these are the things I feel like as black people are not ready to have a conversation on. Everything else, in some level, we still need to face ourselves mentally. What we choose to fight, how we choose to fight, how we choose to react, and what we do on a daily. Because there could be Dudula for 3 months, but what are you doing in a daily? After Dudula is finished, what are you going to do on a daily?
And it's
to improve your life.
It's not the first time that we've had this kind of...
We always have them. And it's funny, in Parliament we talk about every oppression that we have. Trace it back to white people. We're never going to have Dudula that says banks must give us houses, in a sense. I know, I'm not saying they're not doing anything. All I'm saying is, for me, it's a very dicey one. Because we are not dealing with foreigners mostly. It's black ones. That's my problem. I love black too much.
Celeste Ntuli,
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching us. Boom.